So for the title of this, if you're not a business athlete, you could be getting lapped. I thought, okay, you could go down the route of a business owner being athletic and being strong and in shape because it's really good for the mind, which there's no way that doesn't help your business. Or there's the way we could look at this as a business owner, you need to think like an athlete to compete. And the more I thought about it, there's just no way to really separate them in my mind. You got to do both.
Yeah.
And so we're going to talk about both today. The importance of just getting yourself into an elite level shape, whatever that is for you, and then applying all the same principles into your business, and both will rise. So here's the result.
Mm.
Here's the promise of what you're going to get from this is you're going to be in great mental, physical, Greek god-esque shape, and your business is going to be the same, running on all cylinders. And we're going to dig into all the things, the very key elements. I don't know if there's anyone better to speak to about this than Sean as far as competing. And I think why we're so close as best friends is I was competing out of the womb. Like I love to compete. It doesn't matter if it's you're trying to flick a piece of paper into a Coke can 10 feet away. I'm playing that game probably for hours on end. In fact, I'll study it for 6 months if the other person's willing to play that long. Business is the same way, right? Like you have to have that event, that thing to prepare for, that thing to be excellent at, and physical fitness, all the things you have to do there translate into what you need to do and the level you need to take it to in business as well. So we're going to talk about that today. So yeah, man, let's jump in, man. What do you say?
When I think of business athlete, man, I honestly, there's so many different terms and terminologies out there. But when I saw the title and when you sent it to me behind the scenes, I was like, are we onto something? Dude, business athlete? I haven't heard that word out there anywhere. Business athlete. That's got to be
There's
that's a
one
new
guy.
vibe.
He has I think it's the athletic CEO or the CEO athlete or something like that, and he kind of pinned his hat on that. But
Okay.
I mean, the message needs to get out regardless. Like, I
Yeah.
mean, we definitely, for me and you, I feel like we definitely have our own spin because we're competing. You know, we're competing every day. We're training every day in business and for our physical fitness because we know the importance. They are intertwined. I'll say this: there's no version of you where you're out of physical shape. Because if you're out of physical shape, your brain cannot work at full capacity. It's just a
Right.
fact. Like there's
Yeah.
chemicals in our body. If you're not feeling those and feeding them right, then your brain doesn't get what it needs to be able to be creative, to have energy, to execute, to do the things you need to do, which directly impacts your business and the
Yeah.
positivity that comes with it. So you have you, the version of you that's pushing in all cylinders physically, mentally, versus you that's not. Which business will be succeeding more? I just don't see any version where the one where you're pushing doesn't exceed it and take it to the next level. You know,
Yeah.
so I think, but today, you know, it's a very obvious thing to say, but the nuances, the little tidbits, the secrets, they're not secrets, but the things you need to be looking for that we'll talk about today that people can implement. That's not common. You don't get a lot of people that will be able to speak to what we're going to say today, and it will help you move your business if you choose to accept. So,
Yeah, 100%. When I think of business athlete, because I've met people that are not considered, they don't consider themselves an athlete. Or they don't consider themselves that even work out. They just run a business and that's all they do and spend their time, energy, and effort on. And then I've met the individuals that work out, that exercise, that prioritize that time during their day and make it a non-negotiable to work out, to exercise, because they've seen the progress, they've seen the results, they've seen the outcomes and how that shows up in their business. Whether that's mindset, the mental toughness, goal setting, achievement, the discipline, the consistency by going to the gym every single day, doing a push up every single day, doing a walk, or taking a jog, doing these things every single day, focusing in on your nutrition, running the fundamentals and principles as an athlete, business athlete, and you run those congruent, man, you become this well-rounded and prepared business owner, entrepreneur for any challenges that face you.
mm.
And so you just apply, and what I've learned is you just apply that in the same fundamentals in every single life, in every area of life. And because we all get tired, we all get exhausted, and we're all imperfect human beings. And so if you're not clear on the direction and where you're headed, and you're brain fogged, and you're fuzzy. And the reason I'm saying these terms, Ewan, is because when I was 25 pounds overweight 3 years ago, because I lacked clarity, I lacked in the direction that I wanted to go, I worked out, but I worked out just to maintain, meaning I was just going to network. I had different reasons to go, right? I didn't do it. My reason for going wasn't for, I want to be more resilient. I want to have that mental toughness. I want to go run in the rain. I want versus a sunny day.
Yeah.
See, somebody that goes and runs in the rain versus somebody that doesn't, or versus a business person that goes and
It's good. Yeah.
runs when it's 20 degrees outside versus the person that doesn't. What is that going to create? Mental toughness. Well, what do you think is going to happen when you get punched in the mouth and get knocked on the ground when the economy takes a shift in your business, when you've been in business for 3 or 4 or 5 years? See, now you've compounded these principles, these fundamentals, and you are ready and you are prepared to navigate the setbacks, and you stay motivated and you make these informed decisions under pressure. Because when you're working out, you're at the gym, you're doing these different things, you're taxing your body. You're under pressure. So you get comfortable being uncomfortable in business. And that's why I think business athlete is the key ingredient to really become the version, the entrepreneur and the business owner to get to where you want to go.
Yeah. Well, and no matter, you can't separate the two. When you're in the gym and you're suffering under pain, that you know it's for a good reason. There's always a conversation between your brain and your body and the actions that you take. And there's zero difference in business, right? You've got your brain, you got your body that's going to execute and do the things that need to do. Whether it's type an email, pick up the phone to make a call, a difficult call. They correlate. It's always the brain having a conversation with itself that correlates into your body taking action. And as you hone that skill in the gym, it's going to correlate in all areas of life. And to take that into another place. So you're saying you went to network, which is a good reason, right? There's a vision there to network, but it wasn't to become the fittest version of yourself. Like, what do you remember when that shifted? What was maybe one of the first times you're like, oh man, I'm now going to take this on. Like, I'm not going to network anymore. I'm going to dial in my workout to become this. Was there like a vision involved for something particular when you first experienced that?
Yeah. So is it to the point where I was like, I took a reflect back in that I was like, man, I'm putting in all this work. I'm grinding every single day, not only in my business, Ewan. I was grinding, hustling, doing all the things that society sold me to do, that people on YouTube and podcast and all these other places sell, market, show up every single day, 12 hours a day, 13 hours a day, grind. You got to grind.
Mm.
And so I was like, all right, cool. So how you do one thing is how you do everything. So I'm going to do that in my other areas of life. I'm just going to keep grinding. I'm just going to keep hustling. I'm just going to keep doing the things over and over and over, and then expecting different results, which is the definition of insanity. And so for me, I picked my head up and I was doing this. I was working out 7 hours, 7 days a week, hour every single day, putting whatever I wanted to in my body, because that's how I was raised. This goes back to childhood. You finish what's on your plate,
Mm.
eat whatever you want, because I'm exercising, right? I don't have time to put the right foods in my place. I don't have time to learn and meal prep because I'm focused on selling or focused on marketing. Well, here was the problem, bro. Here's what I found. And if I was listening to this on this podcast, I would hope that somebody would just like, hey, you need to listen to this part right here, because man, I wish I would have caught this in my 20s. That moment was, hey man, where are you going? What's the picture here? What are you doing? Why are you showing up to this business every day? Why are you showing up to exercising and running? Are you just doing it to go along with the crowd? Are you just doing it because you know you need to
To look good.
exercise? Because it's
To look
good?
good.
To look good?
Yeah.
What are you doing it for? Are you doing it because the fear of missing out because other people are in the group?
Hmm.
That was the pivotal moment in my life, Ewan. I didn't know. I didn't know why I was doing it. I had, sure, all those sounded good. I
Hmm.
could have picked one reason out, but I had no clear direction on why I was going to exercise, why I was showing up and getting up every single morning. Well, what does that transition and translate to in business, in other areas of life?
Hmm.
Lack of clarity, lack of vision, lack of what it is that you want your life to look like and stand for, of course, you're going to be on the hamster wheel. I'm going to do the same thing over and over and expect different results. Good luck.
And you can't take it to the next level
Nope.
if you can take it to a level of survival, or like I was saying, looking good. That's why most people go, they want to look good, but that's not a sustainable, it's not a fulfilling outcome. And
Yep.
you're not, as soon as you think you look decent, there's not much more to take it. But with
Right.
fitness, there's a long way to go than just looking good. There's
Yep.
a forever distance, because when you start doing it for purpose, to perform better, not just to look good, to perform better, it's a never ending journey. You're constantly going to be tweaking, changing the diet. Now there's a purpose behind it, because you have this vision of, let's say it is something you want to compete for. It really hones you in. That clarity is now created. And that's true for business too. If you're just running around, just getting enough emails and phone calls out, constantly unclear, then there's no vision to get you to the next elite level, right? There's no, you're never going to get to where you want to go, because it's going to take that level of focus, like that seriousness, the purpose. Why am I doing it? To do the things, to learn how to be a good delegator, how to
Yeah.
be able to strategize and get yourself working on the business as opposed to in it, right? Like working uh, in the business would be you just trying to look good, but underneath the hood, it's a disaster,
Yep.
right? You got a Ferrari body, but you've got a Corolla engine, right? Like, or it's busted, it's just breaking down, it's not working. You want it to looking good as an outcome of the underneath running very, very well, and that's true in business and working at the gym, and it just translates. And you have to have that vision for your business that is going to push well beyond just playing business, which is what ends up happening. That's how you get unclear and you end up hating it.
Yeah. That was pure gold. I didn't want to interrupt you, but what you said earlier, the Ferrari and the Kia Accent or whatever the car you
Yeah, yeah,
said,
the engine. Yeah.
right? And so I think so many people, they're like, they have that external appearance, and then but deep down inside, underneath the hood, it's like a disaster.
Mm,
It's a bologna sandwich. It's all over the place. They don't know where they're going. They're just focused on external forces. What are people thinking about me? Am I getting judged? Right? And they're not living their authentic life because they're not super clear on where it is that they want to go. When
yeah.
you align those two things, that's the best version of yourself. That's the healthy version of yourself. Same thing with business, like you said. I think it's just worth repeating and worth rewinding. It was just so beautiful the way you said it. We
Well,
actually need to create a reel on that because, man,
yeah,
powerful.
man, I could tie this down even more. Like I was at 10% body fat, doing CrossFit workouts, big muscles, looked good, man. And if you needed me to perform to look good on let's say a reel for 90 seconds,
Yep.
toast the bar, snatching, that 90 seconds, you're gonna think that guy's a gladiator. I don't want to compete against that guy. But you watch the other 90 seconds, I'm on the floor busted, right? Because I did not earn the endurance, I had
Yep.
not built the foundation
That's right.
of aerobic and anaerobic, and I didn't understand the difference. I was just trying to look good, and I didn't even know that that's what I was doing. Like,
Yeah.
but if I was to be honest, that's ultimately what it was, and that can be so true in business as well. Well, I look like I'm being busy. I'm making some calls. I'm building some structures that work well. I'm getting some success in my business, whether you're in sales or marketing or whatever, or you own your business and you're doing all those things. But it's not actually substance. It's not actually going to take you to this elite level. It wasn't until, and I was pre-diabetic as well at one point, right? Like if you check A1C, your blood sugar over the last 6 months, I think it's 6 months or 2 months, it will tell you kind of where you've been at blood sugar wise. And if your blood sugar is not right, man, your brain does not function right. You do not have good mental health if
Mm.
you're in that position, and you need good mental health to live your life, especially for business. It takes its toll. So it wasn't clear to me until the marathon, like when we started training for that, what aerobic durability was, being able to
Mm.
build that base to where you could keep on going. And
Yep.
I was getting fitter and fitter. And think about it, I had signed up for the marathon. There was a vision, right? I had a purpose behind it. I wasn't doing it to look good. I
Right.
was on a mission to run well, to be able to
Yes.
hit this time that I was after, and not just for the time, but I loved the experience. I enjoyed every minute of it. That was an outcome of doing it. But through that process, I realized, oh man, there's so much. You can go so much deeper in
Mm.
getting fit. And when you get there, you build this identity. This
Mm.
identity is extremely important and true in all areas of life, where you are capable of pushing hard and getting a result. And that's true in business as well. I'm finding that you, especially now more than ever with this high rocks, this solo. Me and you have done the doubles together twice. We've competed, trained together, and I was dialed in, super dialed in, and you led us the whole way. And I think it gave me the confidence, the identity to say, you know what, I'm going to sign up for an individual. But it was that it got me to a place where I was allowed to think, like, see this vision of myself, the version I've never met, doesn't n- never seen him before, other than in my mind's eye. And I was like, I've got to meet him. And what does that guy do? This
Mm,
guy does this. And that
mm,
guy certainly doesn't do that anymore. So now I don't do those things. And I am dialed in all over the place. And so now I'm on this journey, and now I'm finding it coming out in all areas of my life, right?
mm,
Physical fitness, this identity that's built of what I'm capable of following through on is now showing up in business. Calling people back right away, sending what it is that I said I would do, writing what I need to write, create what I need to create, and getting it done. Am I perfect at it? Well, no, but I constantly now I'm looking at this vision of what does that guy do? Well, he
mm.
doesn't do those things. Okay, time to start tweaking. And so that's what I've gotten out of this. I think the version of me that is still back there, I dominate him right now, crush him. He's getting lapped.
Yeah.
And if he was to get into business versus this guy getting into business, I will lap him all day long. And
Yeah.
so that means to anybody out there that's not taking it to that level and you wonder why your business isn't going, are you working out? Are you taking it that serious? And I just think there's no way to get around it. And it
Mm-mm.
sounds like I'm just preaching here, but it's just so important. I can't help it. Like I just want this for other people too. You know what I mean? You just want to like spew that out to everybody.
Yeah, it reminds me of I resonate with what you're saying because that was me. You're speaking to me because I was the guy that up until about I guess it was about 8 years ago when I first started really taking exercising seriously. Kendra introduced me to CG, which is Camp Gladiator. We met out in a parking lot, lifted dumbbells, and that's what we did for 2 years. Well, with CG, you go out there and you work out, and I was doing their competitions, and it was 10 to 15 minute competitions. You'd go out there and I would just run at 160, 170 beats per minute. Well, what happens? You find out really quickly within 15, 20, 30 minutes, you're burnt out.
Yeah.
You're left, burning the candle on both sticks. And so guess what? I did this for so many years. I was like, how you do one thing is how you do everything. So because I was doing that as an athlete, that was showing up in my business. Sure, it got me cash flow. Sure, it got me employees. Sure, it got me to where I wanted to go. But then it was a ticking time bomb. Here's why. Because one, I didn't know where I was going. I was going through it aimlessly. Two, I was going a million miles an hour, right? And I'm always been a pretty decent high, even though I'm an introvert behind the scenes, I've been a high energy guy because I don't know, it's just how I love to show up. And it's just how my identity. But then I found out really quickly, Ewan, by applying in these different areas of life, even in spirituality and marriage and churches, like I'm
Mm,
always a million miles an hour. I'm like, dude, I'm not only a decade older, but I'm not like slowing down to go fast, meaning I'm not really enjoying being in the moment, being
yeah.
present. Because and then on top of that, here's the real disaster is now I'm looking at life as a freaking sprint.
Mm.
And so I'm like, clarity, vision, core values. I'm not doing any of these things for my personal
Mm.
and business life. Well, guess what? 3 years ago, it punched me in the mouth,
Yeah.
quick style. And so how I was doing one thing and how I was doing everything is I didn't slow down to go fast. And you're right. By being a business athlete, by doing the marathon versus the 15-minute high intensity interval sessions, I understand this is going to be a 26.2-mile race. I got 4 hours to sit here to go slow so I can go fast. And
Yeah.
so if I can apply that in the same mentality in the different areas of my life, well, the version of me now versus the version of me 3 years ago not only laps that person, but crushes and dominates and takes market share. And this person throws in the towel. Now I'm buying the business from this person,
Yeah.
or I'm coaching this person.
Yeah, yes, that's right. That's so true, man. It just correlates so well because, like, okay, so 80% of your run is supposed to be zone two, your workout zone two, so that you don't burn out. Because zone two is your, if you're 40 years old, your heart rate should be around the 140 mark.
Yep.
Right, you don't want to go above that. You keep it at that, and if you keep it there, you don't get injured because you don't burn out. As opposed to 160, 170 beats per minute, that's you're going at a fast pace. You can only sustain that for so long. and then you crash and burn. If you kept that up for too long, you will crash and burn. And that's true in business as well, right? Like you can't talk 170, 160. You're not going to be able to talk, like have a conversation, right? Because you can't even
Yep.
breathe at that point if you've done it for too long. Zone two, you're taking your time, right? And you think, I'm not going fast. It's not building much, but really are building that aerobic base. And you can have a conversation the entire time.
Mm.
And when it is time to sprint, you better believe you'll go faster for longer than you ever thought possible.
Yep.
And those times are coming because you do need that. But then you get that rest, that recovery, and that's true in business. And that, man, I've learned that from. And here's the funny thing: like you're always going to be testing those limits. Different new problems will come up, and you're going to feel good, and you're going to be tempted to sprint.
Yeah.
I'm
Yep.
dealing with a little niggling injury right now because I'm feeling so good.
Yep.
I can feel myself easing back into sprinting. No, I need to get myself back into that zone two and keep building that base.
Yep.
And if I was to think about it too, the amount of time that most people don't want to, they say can't work out. They don't have the time running a business. They're busy. I got kids, all the things. I don't have time.
Mm.
Which that's a mental conversation. That's not true. No matter what, there's always time. And if you don't have time, there's an indicator for yourself if you have a business that you are not managing it well. If you don't have time to work out because you're so busy in your business,
Mm.
this might be your sign to, well, how could you build the time in there? It would literally teach you to carve out time to do something good for yourself. And whatever that process is, then you can duplicate that.
Yeah.
Right. And so you got to take that time out to be healthy so that you can work on your business, not in it.
Beautiful, man. A couple things popped up on my mind is when you're saying, yeah, that's the first sign is if I don't have time. Well, here's the thing, right? And so, like you said, that's not only a red flag, but a sign. It's like, okay, well, it's a mindset shift. Well, who do I need to become to make time? Because we all have the same amount of time during the day, 24/7, right? Me and you, and we all have the same amount of time. So I'm in my mind, I'm not the smartest cookie in the jar, right? I'm just not. I'm a slow learner. It's not
Me
as smart
too.
as cookie in the jar.
Me too.
But wouldn't you want to go learn from somebody that's actually doing what you want to do? That might be a bold statement,
Yeah.
but if the definition of insane is doing the same thing over and over and expecting different results, and so I'm thinking, oh, I'm listening to this, and well, like, oh, that's not me. We say that, right? It's not me, and
Yeah.
so, but I would challenge any listener, any person listening to this, and I have to challenge I'm just speaking to my inner self. I have to challenge myself all the time. It's like, well, where is your pride going up? Where's your defensive ego going up right now? Where can you filter? Where can you really drop everything and active listen right now and apply that filter in your own life? And so I think that by running congruent with how you show up and feel, that makes all the difference in the world in the journey of becoming the best version of yourself. Because if you're eating that cheeseburger, and I've been this guy, the cheeseburger, the pizzas, as much as I want to say that it doesn't affect my mood, my behavior, my blurriness, my fuzziness, the way I feel, the way I sleep, the way I recover, it's all a lie because
Mm.
it freaking affects me tenfold.
Yeah.
And when you allow that to affect you, and you're not clear on the direction that you're going and the next steps that you're taking, and you're not doing the work and asking yourself the questions, and asking yourself the questions is the analogy there, the correlation to the marathon and what we're talking about as far as a business athlete is the slow runs, the zone 2, 140 under that heartbeat. If I lined up 100 people, out of those 100 people, I'm willing to bet 90 of those people are not going to keep it under that zone 2 because they don't want to go slow. It's miserable. It's no fun. I'm bored. That's where the magic happens.
Got to learn to love that.
Is slowing down. That's the analogy. And so if you can do that with a marathon and it's intentional about asking yourself the painful questions, I need to get super clear. I need to get my vision. I need to get focused. I need to ask myself the questions. And if you struggle with that, then hey, we're here to help. Text us 936-788-4295, business athlete, and we'll set up a strategy call and help you out.
Beautiful. I
Outside of
think,
that, you got any final thoughts, Ewan?
yeah, I was just going to say one last thing with the vision. I hadn't really thought about it before, but I say this all the time with my physical being. This elite version of me that I will meet. I'm on the journey to meet him, and he does these things in all the right ways, all the best ways. He's feeling absolute good in all areas of life. He doesn't do these things, and so I won't do those things either. And it really helps. It really helps drive me. But if I was to think about business owner, and if I was to envision what that person is doing, and if you're listening to this, if you envision yourself, what does the very best version of you owning that business, living the life that you love, what do they do? What's the things they do? Are they
Mm,
doing what you're doing right now? Is that person, honestly, are you serious that they are typing an email on their vacation?
mm,
They have to take that phone call.
yep,
Does that very best version of you, are they doing that? If they're not, then you should not be doing that either. I mean, that's not, you would agree, everyone would agree that that's true. Yeah, they don't do those things.
yeah,
How can I figure out how to not do those things too?
yeah,
Because it's not acceptable. And the consequences is if I don't figure it out, I'll never meet that person. I'll
mm,
never be that. I'll never have that. So it's got to start today. There is no tomorrow. And it will drive you as well. Every decision you make, every thought you have will be based around you not doing the things that that person doesn't do, the version of you that you want to meet. And really enjoy the journey on the way there. This is not like I'm going to hold off my good times till I get there. No, you will start enjoying it immediately from
yeah,
day one for the rest of your life. Not doing the things. They don't eat the pizza. They don't eat the burgers. You're like, oh, but I love that stuff. How am I ever going to stop the candy?
mm,
When you envision yourself and that guy, that gal is so happy, so fulfilled, and they don't eat the candy, you won't either. You
yeah,
won't. If you keep that vision in mind, if you let that vision fade, so will your actions of what
mm,
they don't do. And so it's a decision you have to make. It's down to you to
yeah,
get yourself in that position, and it's a never-ending journey, but one you get to enjoy. And the results are the best version of yourself.
mm,
And if you don't know what that means, like Sean said, reach out. Let's discuss it. Set up a strategy call. It's totally possible for everybody. It doesn't matter how. If you're 400 pounds and you can't lift a weight, can't get up the couch, that's we're not. You're not separate from what we're talking about. It's for you too. So yeah. On that note.
amen. Make sure you like and subscribe. Drop us in the DM what you liked about the show. We appreciate it. Share this with a business owner and entrepreneur. And outside of that, text us 936-788-4295. Business athlete. Let's set up a strategy call and keep moving forward. Level up and live.
Level up and live.